Okay, so good evening all. I hope my video and audio factors are clear to all the participants. If it is clear, just kindly confirm. You can just type a yes in the chat box so that I can, understand with the technical factors, and then we'll slowly get into the things. Is my both video and audio clear for all the participants? Okay, okay. Great, great. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the response. And so I'll introduce myself. I am Nikhil Vyas. I'm your facilitator for the next 3 days of Industrial Psychology Crash Course program. So we have a variety of audience. We have, somewhere around 100 plus audience for today's program. Uh, I hope to, give you the best experience and educate you regarding the industrial psychology, its scopes, what are the important factors in it, and things like that. And I'm ready to learn from you as well, because I believe that learning is a two-way process. I am ready to educate you as well as I'm ready to learn from you all as well. So to say that, we have a good set of audience here. But before starting the session, I just wanted to understand what kind of audience do we have today, and so according to it, I will also be able to customize the sessions initially. So this is not going to be a regular, typical online session where one person is talking and the other 50 or 100 are listening. This will be a completely interactive session. An interactive session in the sense, like as a participant, you can always ask your queries and doubts and things like that in the chat box. We will also be often asking the sessions, often taking the sessions in an interactive way. We'll be asking you relevant questions to the topics and things like that. That is how the whole factors goes. Okay, so when you are answering the questions, you can always answer it in the chat box. Avoid answering it in the audio format. If you are answering it in the chat box, I'll address every factors as well. So the first 40 to 45 minutes will be focusing on the content. The last 10 to 15 minutes will be focusing on the doubt clarification session. That is how all the 3 days it will be going on. The first 40 to 45 minutes of content. The next 10 to 15 minutes will be about doubt clarification. So whatever doubts you have, you can always note it down and you can ask your doubts at the end of the session. That is like after 8:40 or 8:45. Okay. Yeah. Great. So can you just mention from where you are and what you are doing in the chat box? Let's say like if you're from Mumbai, just say Mumbai and just say like you are a BSc student or an MSc student or working professional. Whatever you are doing, you can just mention from where or which city you are and what you are currently doing in the chat box, so that I can understand what kind of audience do we have, and it will help us to customize the sessions accordingly. Okay, Chennai BSc Psychology, Madurai BSc Psychology. Masters, Chhattisgarh, Mumbai, Industrial Psychology, Madurai, Madurai, Ahmedabad, Pudukkottai, Chennai, Mumbai, Punjab, Jaipur, Coimbatore, Pune, great, Bangalore, Coimbatore, Vellore, Jaipur, Assam, nice. You can just mention your from which city you are and what you are currently doing. BSc Psychology, MSc Psychology, or you are a working professional. You can just mention it as working and things like that. Okay, Tiruvannamalai, Kolkata. Okay, that's great. We have a very wide set of audience. We have audience from almost all parts of the country. We have from different states, from different cities, and things like that. That's really great. I'm happy that you are interested to learn something, and I believe that you are here to upskill yourself and to get more relevant knowledge regarding the industrial psychology. Okay, great. So. Let's slowly get into the session now. Let's not wait more than the factors. Like we have already initiated a brief about how the session is going to be and what is the agenda and things like that. So here we'll try to have a basic understanding. And today, that is on day 1, we are actually discussing about the introduction of industrial psychology. What is industrial psychology? How the industry will be? What is the expectation from a company side, and what are the things which you should focus on? How the job will be, how the job profile is of an industrial psychologist or HR professional, whatever it is. Okay. So for this, the first myth or the first misunderstanding you have to break here is people think that a HR professional and an industrial psychologist are two different things. But the actual fact is, whether you complete your MBA or whether you do your HR psychology or whether you do your industrial psychology, you will be working in the sector of human resource as a human resource professional. Okay, only the name changes or the name differs as an industrial psychologist or a HR professional or a HR manager. The work which you do is both same for HR professional as well as an industrial psychologist. So this is the first understanding you should get about the industry, because many people have this confusion regarding this. Many people think that HR is a different profession, industrial psychology is different profession. No, it's not. Okay, so what do industrial psychologists do? What do HR professionals do in common? To be very simple, the common aspect for both these people from these different terms is they look after the life cycle of an employee. Okay, that is what you can, in a very simple note, you can say they look after the life cycle of an employee. What is this life cycle of an employee? From the day a candidate attends an interview till the day the candidate leaves the organization. So these are the factors which is included in the life cycle of an employee. Let's say a sales manager is actually recruited in a company to look after the sales, to bring the revenue inside. Okay, a marketing manager is hired in a company to actually market the brand to the customers. Similar to it, a HR professional or an industrial psychologist is actually focused much on taking care of the employees. Okay, so your role is nothing but taking care of the employees, basically managing the life cycle of an employee. Okay, certain ways given more preference than psychology. Why so? Yeah, definitely. It is not preference like that. Most of the companies have slowly understood the importance of hiring people from the psychology background for the HR profession. It is actually improving. The data was very bad in the past, but now it is betterly improving. Okay, so getting back to the topic, life cycle of an employee is the actual role of a HR professional. Okay. Now, I have a question here. Okay, I will always be asking you questions, and I expect your answers. There is no right answers. There is no wrong answers. I just expect you to say your answers, say your point of view. Okay, because that is the only way we can differentiate ourselves from the typical online sessions. I don't believe in the lecture-based sessions. I believe in interactive sessions. Why the company specifically recruits a person to take care of the employees? Why should we take care of the employees in the first place? Imagine you all are a business people. Okay, you are having your own company. Okay, why you should take care of your employees? You can say your answers in the chat box. For the development of the company. Everybody, like we have 100 plus people, like 100 plus answers also. Even if someone has mentioned your answers, it's totally fine. You can say your point. To improve the status of the company, improving productivity, growth of the company, build good rapport. Okay. Higher productivity. Nice. Productivity, growth of the company, improve the mental health of the subject, economic growth. They can take care of themselves and company for the growth, interest on their work. Employee will do best efforts, stress-free employment, keep the employment in the company. Stress and mindfulness. Yes. If we take care of them, they take care of company. Okay, true. Profit. Yes. Employee performance pays off for the companies. Yes, definitely yes. Company can take care of it. Yes, true. Growth of development. Okay. Mental well-being of employee. Okay. Okay, great. Of course, all your answers are correct. I will also add my point as well. The reason every company should take care of the employee is obviously similar to the answers which you said. Only when we take care of the employees will take care of the company, right? Imagine someone is working hard for my growth. I am owning a company, and someone is working hard for my growth. So, what should, as an ideal person, I should be doing? I should make sure that they are happy, they are satisfied in the workplace, they are happy in the workplace, and things like that. Okay, so that is my responsibility. But as a, let's say, like as a business owner, and let's say like everybody as a business owner, like we have 100 plus business owners here. Okay, but as a business owners, you can't only focus on the employees. You'll have multiple things to keep in your mind, and that is where you will be hiring a HR professional, okay, or an industrial psychologist. So now what happens? The industrial psychologist takes care of the employee part. He or she takes care of the employee part. They take care of their wellness, recruitment, and things like that. Remember, I said you something in the beginning that you are basically going to manage the life cycle of an employee. Now, let's slowly get into that. What is that life cycle of an employee, right? So, it can be divided into few phases, basically. The first phase could be something like recruitment. Recruitment is a phase. Okay, let's try to divide it into phases so that you will also be able to get a clear understanding here. Okay. So, let's take the first phase of an employee is obviously the recruitment. From the day you are conducting an interview, a candidate is attending the interview, you are taking them, you are asking questions, you are selecting them, you are appointing them, and things like that. Okay, and after this recruitment part, you are giving them appointment, they are joining, you are explaining the company policies and all stuff like that. This is the role in the recruitment phase. Okay, the second phase is something related with the training and development. Okay, the second phase is something related with the training and development where you will be training the employees. Okay, you will be training the employees, and you will be making sure that they are the right fit for the organization. So now you may have a question that, okay, why should I train my employees? That is not my role. I studied psychology. Why should I be making sure that I should, train my employees and things like that? What is your take regarding? You can share your answers in the chat box. Why should we train your employees? Even though you come from a psychology background, but still your role is to take care of the employees, to make sure that the life cycle is clearly managed, right? But between that, why should we train our employees? To know the skills, profit. Okay. What are the other answers? Why should we train employees once we recruit them? Capacity of an employee. Okay. See, never worry about the wrong answers. Never worry. Okay, someone has already said, I just thought of it. Nothing like that. Okay. See, at the end of the day, we are just here to learn. We are just here to do maximum mistakes. So never worry about mistakes. Okay. They should be in comfort zone. Okay, enhance skills, improve skills, learn more. Okay, particular area. Okay, employee can get knowledge about it. Okay, adapt to the company culture between work and personal space, skills, motivation, can learn more than they had already. Okay, skill enhancement programs, identify skills and their talent. Okay, to improve their skills needed for. Yes, okay, true. Like whatever you have all said, those answers are right. Adding to it, you would have heard about this famous saying that if the employees are not trained, okay, they are not going to improve, or they are not going to improve the company to the next level, right? Only if the employees are trained, the trained employees will help the company to grow the company to the next level. So obviously it is like investing in your employee. Okay, it is like investing in your employee, investing in their growth, which subsequently or indirectly leads to the growth of the company as well. So this is the second phase of an employee, that is training and development. Okay, the third phase is something related with the performance factors. Okay, something related with the performance factors. How do they behave in the organization? Stuff like that. Okay, we have a particular topic called as workplace organization behavior. So we'll be discussing it, but still I'm just giving a small an introduction or a small gist here. That's it. Okay, so the second phase we have discussed, the first we have discussed. Now we'll try to go with the third phase, that is the performance of an employee. How is the employee behaving inside the organization? Are they performing well, or are they not performing well? Things like that. As an industrial psychologist or a HR professional, it is your role to make sure that to cross-check and evaluate their performances. Okay, to cross-check and evaluate their performances. Let's take this example here. Of course, almost everybody hates exams here, right? We don't love exams because exams are very tedious. It gives us too much stress and things like that. But let me ask you a question here. On the first basis, why did our education system had exams? Any guesses in the chat box? Any guess? Why did our education system have exams or tests or whatever it is? To test our memory, okay, to assess the knowledge level, okay, to know our capacity, okay, test our understanding, okay, to know about our knowledge, ability students gained, okay, to check what you gain, to check we have gained knowledge or not, memory, ability, we have inculcated, learned, understand what we understand the concepts, true, self-assessment, yes. So basically that was the actual reason of introducing exams or tests in the education system itself. That is, whether are they performing well, whether they are able to understand it, whether they are able to outstand themselves or exhibit themselves and things like that. That was the actual purpose, but unfortunately the purpose did not get initiated. Things became different. We became more competitive, and since we were more competitive, since we are more focused on the marks, we forgot about the concept of knowledge. But actual reason of introducing exams in the system was just to evaluate us, evaluate our performances, evaluate our metrics. Where are we? How are we? Should we go better, or should we improve, or should we increase? Things like that. Similar to the way you analyze the performance of an employee to cross-check whether everything's are going in a smooth way or not. Okay, to cross-check whether everything's are going in a smooth way or not. So, how do you analyze the performance of a company? You analyze the performance of a company based on what kind of sales they have brought in, what kind of revenue they have brought in, how much money do they make, how successful they are, and things like that. But in the first case, if this sales should be better, if the company needs to make more profit, they should focus on the actual process. What is the process? People working in a better way, people making sure that the targets are done, the sales are done, and things like that. This is what it's actually a cycled process, right? Say for instance, if the employee works better, okay, he achieves the target. If he achieves the target, the company gets more revenue. When the company gets more revenue, it becomes more successful, and it again goes to the betterment of the employees itself. That is how the whole things work. So it's everybody, almost everything's are connected actually, right? So we as a HR professional should always make sure that we are evaluating the employees on monthly basis. In few companies, it is also happening in the weekly basis as well. Okay. Now you may have a doubt that, okay, sir, I completed my psychology degree. So will I not be doing counseling in the company? If I'm hired as an industrial psychologist, will I be do counseling or not? This is a very very important question, or very high number of people have this doubt in their mind. The truth is, most of it, you will not be doing counseling in the first case. That is the truth here. Okay, if you are hired as an industrial psychologist or a HR professional, you will not be doing online counseling or counseling basically to your fellow colleagues. Okay, because your job role would be mostly relied on the human resource management and things like that. Your job role will be highly relied on human resource, not on their wellness part. You will be doing the training programs, you may be doing some workshops, some emotional push workshops and things like that, but you will not be involved in the counseling aspects. Now I'll try to say you a truth here. Okay, this is completely which I had understood from my personal experience, personal in the sense like from my professional experiences. Okay, from the way how corporates have happened, how people are behaving inside the corporate and things like that. Okay, corporates have slowly understood that when the corporate companies are hiring in-house counselors. Okay, what is the meaning of in-house counselors? Can I get an answer in the chat box? Because I wanted to make sure that you don't get bored or you don't get missed from the terms. That's why I'm keep on asking you questions. I'll be doing it in same for the next 2 or 3 days. What is the meaning of in-house counselors? What is the meaning of outsourced counselors and in-house counselors? What is the meaning of in-house counselors? Any guess? Take a guess. Take a guess in the chat box. Okay, no issues. Okay, so in-house counselors are basically, say for instance, if Infosys is a company, TCS is a company. Okay, TCS will be hiring in-house counselors who will be working as a full-time psychologist or a full-time counselors with the company itself. So technically, if you are hired as an in-house counselor, you are also the fellow employee for the software engineer, for the marketing manager, for the sales manager. Now, the problem is actually, imagine I'm a marketing manager in Infosys, okay, and you are hired as an in-house counselor in Infosys. Okay, even though you are a psychologist, even though you are trained to be being a counselor, as a general audience, I will not be able to open up to you because I don't see you as a counselor or as a psychologist. I see you as my fellow colleague. So what I do is I get afraid. Okay, what if I'm sharing my my thoughts to the particular person, and what if it gets gets leaked or gets misused or things like that? That is not the case. I completely understand it, but people nowadays have this thought that even though they are counselors, they are also my colleagues. So how can I open up to them? I cannot open up my problems to them. This is the situation which had mostly happened in corporates. Corporates started understanding this data before 3 to 4 years itself. So now what they are doing, most of it, every corporate companies are hiring, mental health companies, and the mental health companies will be outsourcing the therapist or counselors to the organization. And that is why, even though you have completed your industrial psychology, you will not be expected to do counseling to the employees in the company. Okay, this is the this is one of the harsh truth, because companies have understood this. Companies actually take decisions based on data. They don't take decisions based on intuition, or they don't take decisions based on this one single incident or something like that. They take corporates take decisions based on data, based on numbers. How many people have used the in-house counselors facility? How many people have opted for outsourced counselors and things like that? And that is the reason we are specifically mentioning that, most of the time, if you are hired as an industrial psychologist, your role will be completely related with the life cycle of an employee, not regarding the counseling aspects. Because nowadays, 10 and 9 companies are actually hiring outside, are outsourcing counselors, or they are outsourcing mental health companies to support their employees regarding the wellness programs. But saying that, that doesn't mean it would restrict you to initiate wellness programs to your employees. As a HR professional or as an industrial psychologist, you will also be, initiating employee wellness related programs to your company. There may be situations where, you will be conducting emotional intelligence workshops, you'll be conducting stress management workshops and things like that. Okay. So now, said that, we discussed about 3 phases. One is regarding the recruitment phase. The second is regarding the training and development phase. The third is regarding the performance evaluation of an employee phase, right? The fourth factor, which is relevant in the industry, that is specifically in your role, is there are some, psychological dimensions regarding the human resource things. Okay. Say, for instance, some of the very important terms would be factors relevant to the crisis management issues. Okay, there can be issues related to crisis management, issues related to workplace culture, things like that. Okay, workplace culture, crisis management are some of the factors which you will also be focusing on. Now, what is this workplace crisis, or what is this crisis management? What is this workplace culture? We will be focusing on it. We'll be explaining it in the upcoming days. But now I'm trying to give you a small explanation. Okay. The recent example of crisis management is 2019 COVID. Okay. Why it is considered as a crisis? Because every crisis is something which is never predicted, but it has always a pattern, right? So in such cases, the most affected employee or the most affected industry or the most affected professional during the COVID was exactly the HR professional or an industrial psychologist. Can you guess why? You can guess your answers in the chat box. The most affected person during the COVID times, or during the beginning of the COVID, where many people were laid off and things like that happened, industrial psychologists or HR professionals were actually suffering because of this crisis. Why? Any guess? You can guess your answers in the chat box. The chat box are open. You can always guess your answers. As I mentioned earlier, there is no right answers, there is no wrong answers. Cost of work from home, yes. Due to lockdown, okay. Why? That is a question. Like, lockdown happened. How did that affect industrial psychology? How did that affect the human resource sector? Employees may not be cooperative because of the panic. True. No interaction. Yes. No direct interaction. Attrition rates. Yes. Many people left. Yes. Uncertainty around. True. Not able to understand the mental status of the employees. Definitely. Okay. Salary problems of the employees. Yes. Okay. Of course, there are many good answers. I completely understand it. I'll say my own experiences factor, right? I was actually consulting with a particular company. I don't want to mention the company. This company had actually, they had actually stopped the process. They have stopped the production, and because since they had stopped the production, they were in a push to do the layoff aspects. Okay, they were in a push to lay off somewhere around 200 plus employees because they have already stopped the production. They'll not be able to afford the employee salary since they have stopped the production and things like that happening. So when that was happening, the first person who was actually inquired was not the CEO of the company, not the production manager of the company or the sales manager of the company. Every employees will directly come to the HR sector and they will ask, why am I being sent? What did I do wrong? And things like that happens. Okay. So in such kind of situations, that is where specifically, there is a saying that every person who is working in the human resource sector will definitely face somewhere around 2 to 3 crises during their work period. Let's say like if they are working for 20 or 30 years, they'll be facing a minimum of 2 to 3 crises, something like COVID or tsunami or Chennai floods 2008 economic downturns, things like that. Many things happen, right? So in such kind of situations, most people just march towards the human resource sector people because they can't get access to the CEO, they can't get access to the founder of the company, they can't get access to the manager. They directly come to the human resource aspects. In such kind of situations, it is your role to make sure that you handle the crisis more emotionally and mentally with a strong base. So that is also one of the aspect. The second aspect is related, which I mentioned, that is like workplace culture, workplace behavior and things like that. I also mentioned something related to it. Now, you may have a doubt that, okay, I was mentioned that I have to take care of the employee, I have to take care of the wellness and things like that. How come culture comes inside this? How come workplace culture comes inside these factors and stuff like that which may happen? I'll definitely say you. But before that, I just wanted to understand whether are we good? Is the vibe good? Are you, are you able to keep on look with the sessions? Is the sessions boring or is the session interesting? I just wanted to have some basic understanding about it so that I can also plan it accordingly. If the sessions are going good, if the vibe is checked, just type or just send your favorite emoji in the chat box. We have a small team who's actually been adding the groups, initiating the certificates and things like that. So you can show the if you are actually enjoying the session, if you feel that okay, somewhere 30 minutes was kind of useful for you, you can just send your favorite emojis in the chat box. You can send your love to the training and development team who is working behind this workshop. Okay, this will actually be encouraging, really encouraging for them too. When they see your emojis, it will be a little more encouraging for them as well. So I expect almost 100 emojis in the chat box. How is the session going? Are you enjoying the session? You can share your emojis or you can share your love with the backend team who are supporting us throughout this program. Everybody can share it. Your favorite emojis. What kind of emojis do you want to share it to them? You can send it. Okay. Okay, great. I'm also happy that the vibe has been passed. You are also, loving the session and things like that. Because at the end of the day, as your facilitator, it is my role to make sure that the session has been interesting. The session has been very simple and understanding to you, right? Great. I'll stick to my word. I'll make sure that somehow things will be very, very useful for you. There's no doubt in it. I'll take my maximum effort to make sure that you are learning something throughout these 3 days of program. And yeah, so getting back to the factors, we are discussing about the workplace culture term. So, what is culture basically? It is nothing but how people behave, what kind of attitude they have, what kind of thought process they have. These are basically considered as culture. Let's say like we say it as Indian culture, we say it as Western culture. To be more specific, we say cultures. Every state has a different culture in India, right? Every Punjab has a different culture, Chhattisgarh has a different culture, Assam has a different culture, Tamil Nadu has a different culture, Kerala has a different, like that. Every places have a culture, right? Similar to it, your company will also have a particular workplace culture. To explain you or to make you understand the importance of this workplace culture, I'll try to give you a small saying here. Okay. It's a very famous saying in the corporate world that people join the company for a salary and people leave the company because of the culture. I'll repeat the statement. Okay, it can be applied for freshers, specifically can be applied for freshers, to an extent for the senior professionals also. People join a company for salary. That is like, okay, if I get 30,000 salary, 40,000 salary, 1 lakh salary, it's good to me, right? But people leave a company because of a bad culture or because of a bad toxic environment. Now you may have a doubt that, is it Is salary even is culture that much important? Because is culture more important than the salary? Let me ask you a question here. Imagine you are, getting, let's say, 2 lakhs per month. Okay, you are getting a dream job. Okay, you're getting a dream job, and the package is 2 lakhs per month. So let's say like 24 lakhs per year. Okay, and this is your dream company. You have very high hopes on it, and things are really, really great. And you enter into the company for the first 1 week or 1 month. You understand that okay, the company is kind of very hard to survive and things like that. You think that okay, it's usual, everybody faces it, things like that. So you don't take much care of it. Then you slowly understand that the whole vibe is not good. Many people are not supportive. Your boss is kind of toxic. Things like that has happened. Now let's say like it's after 2 or 3 months. After 2 or 3 months, you understand that every day there has been a problem. Every day, like people are not supportive here. People are not at all encouraging you. People are not teaching you anything, even though you are a new person. Things like that happens. Yes, as Yuvraj said, there is no peace in the working environment. You are always stressed because of the culture, because of the very bad culture where people are not supportive to each other. People are trying to pull out you, right? People are trying to demean you. People are trying to, actually insult you. Things like that. Will you still continue in the job? Now, the salary will no more be a priority for you. Here, the priority will be let me work in a peaceful environment first, because you have actually undergone a very bad culture in the workplace. Now imagine that if an employee thinks like this, no, the culture is very bad, so let me leave the company. There are people, there are employees who left the company for better salary. They have again came back to the company. But people who have left because of the bad culture will never come back. This is a proven fact here. Let's say like let's take the example. Okay, let's take who can we take? Let's take any famous any famous celebrity's name and try to apply the celebrity as an example for the next 2 or 3 days. Okay, let's take the example of okay, Shah Rukh Khan. A random example. Okay, just for a random, so it can easily get registered in your mind. Okay, let's take an example of Shah Rukh Khan. Okay, so Shah Rukh Khan is working in the company, but Shah Rukh Khan is not happy with the company, and after few days, Shah Rukh Khan will prioritize. Let me not work for the salary. Let me at least get some peace of mind. So he may switch out. So imagine if Shah Rukh Khan was working for the company and suddenly he got a better offer. Here he was earning 5 lakhs. He got a better offer for 7 lakhs. Obviously, he may jump because we are humans. We tend to go for better benefits, right? So if Shah Rukh Khan is going actually or leaving the company just for the reason of salary, he may come back in the future also. He may again join us after 5 years or 10 years or something. But imagine if Shah Rukh Khan was, just leaving the company because of the bad culture, they will never come back. Can you say the answer why? Can you say why Shah Rukh Khan will never come back if he is leaving the company because of a bad culture? You can share your answers in the chat box. I expect to get 100 answers. I'm trying my maximum to address every answers, but still the count is high. So I hope you understand. Why will Shah Rukh Khan not return if he leaves the company because of bad culture? You can share our answers in the chat box. I expect 100 plus answers. Okay, because he feels uncomfortable. Okay, he might get frustrated. Okay. Because he don't want to experience the same again. Okay, mental pressure, cope up. Okay, bad experience, ego or attitude issue, dissatisfied. The culture is not suitable. Okay. Mind should be in good condition, may be depressed, mentally exhausted. Experience makes him to do so. True. Maybe the peaceful environment to continue his work. Okay. Mental pressure. Okay, great. Like this is the basic factor here. So, taking care of the workplace culture is also the responsibility of a person who is working in the human resource sector. That is, it can be an industrial psychologist or a HR professional. Okay. So, these are the very basics or some important terms which is to be addressed regarding industrial psychology. Remember, in India specifically, you don't get hired as an industrial psychologist. You get hired, if you complete your industrial psychology, you get hired as a human resource professional or a HR professional. But the role is same, the work is same. Only the titles or the names differs. Okay, it is similar to saying that computer science engineer and an information technology engineer. What is the difference? There's no much difference. A computer science engineer and an IT software engineer does the same work. Hardly the titles are just different. Okay, people just give different names to this confuses, but at the end of the day, they are dedicated towards this one sector. Whether you are an industrial psychologist or a HR professional or an MBA graduate, you work in the HR aspects. Now you may have this doubt that okay, what is the difference between doing an MBA and an MSc industrial psychology? It's very simple. MBA people would love to manage people, and people from the background of MSc or MA industrial psychology, they try to empathize people, they try to understand people. So the perspectives are the only difference. Rather than that, regarding the subject or the work, you almost study same things. Only the perspectives differ. An MBA tries to manage, tries to give orders and things like that. A person from the psychology background who is getting into the industrial psychology sector or a HR sector, they try to understand the people. This is the perspective difference which we have basically. Okay, so this is the introduction of industrial psychology on day one, and we will be addressing different sort of topics in day 2 and day 3 aspects. Okay, so let's slowly open the chat aspects for the doubts or queries which we have. Whatever doubts and whatever queries you have, you can ask us in the chat box. I'll try to address every queries to the maximum and avoid the queries. Let's say like, or also make sure that if someone has asked this query which you had in your mind, skip it. Okay, so that we'll also be able to tackle it as well. Okay, so organization behavior is make a culture of an environment is correct to an extent, Yuvraj, because organization behavior is nothing but how people behave in an organization. That is somewhere relevant to the culture which we build also. Okay, so is there any PPT or PDF to read? Yeah, sorry Divya, like I think I should have said it in the beginning, but I did not. I forgotten the stances. The 3-day session will be a completely no PPT session. The reason we are initiating it as a no PPT session is as as students, specifically after COVID, you would have already seen too much of PowerPoint presentations, too much of PDFs and things like that. And that is why we are initiating it as a completely no PPT session. But at the end of the day, after 3 days of the program, we will try to give a small, a notes document for you to read. That is after the 3 days of program, so that your concentration will be completely on the session and things like that. So as of now, we will not be initiating any PPTs or PDFs. We'll be completely making it as an interactive session only. Which those companies that have IO psychologists, can you name those if you remember? Okay, specifically if I wanted to say companies like Cred, companies like Snapdeal, these kind of companies are actually focusing much on the wellness of the employees. They want their employees to be more happy and satisfied. Such kind of companies are specifically hiring human resource professionals from the psychology background. To name few. What's the salary structure in startup or in general for IU psychology? It starts somewhere from 35,000 per month. Once you complete your MSc or once you complete your PGs, you can start somewhere from 35,000. If you don't have a PG or if you're starting with an UG degree, it is start somewhere from 22 to or 25, things like 20. You can say something like that, 20, and that is how the factors start approximately. Which companies hire IO psychologists? Every companies hire IO psychologists, as I guess. The truth is, as I mentioned earlier, they don't mention you as IO psychologist. They recruit you, even if you are from an industrial psychology background, they recruit you for the HR sector. The only thing is, they don't mention it as a name. That is the only difference. How can we identify the personal factors that leads to job dissatisfaction? So most of it, as I said something in the performance evaluation factor, we will also be talking to their employees. now every now and then we will be talking to our employees, which help us to understand what exactly is the problem, or is there a problem happening. And if we could talk to our employees every now and then, we can also understand when the when the breakouts are happening, so we can try to prevent the problems which may happen in the future. Most of the problems happen because we don't talk with the employees, and once we talk and once we sort it out, half of our work is done. Applied psychology can apply for the HR position. Definitely, you can apply for the HR position. As I mentioned earlier, like a psychology professional from a PG background can also apply for the HR positions as well. Theory of the IO psychologist in factory, same as HR. As I mentioned, in India, I'm specifically saying about India. Okay, in India, you will not see much job related with the title called as IO psychology, because whether you are a person from the HR background or an IO background, you will be initiated with, or you'll be expected to work in the HR sector. As I mentioned, only the titles are different. So even if you're searching for a job, instead of searching as an IO psychologist job, just search as an HR executive or a HR manager, things like that. That would help you to a lot of extent. Any extra qualification of the master's in IO psychology. There is no requirement of extra qualifications, but if you are into certifications, if you have more certifications or course, you did any sort of courses in the sector, it would help you to upskill yourself. Okay, because be very clear, have an understanding that this is for everybody. Your degree will not get you any job. Okay, you should have skills. How does the skills come? By doing internships, by doing certification courses, by doing online programs, whatever it is. You should have skills. At the end of the day, imagine you are an interviewer, I'm coming to you, I'm asking you, can you give me a job? What is the first thing you'll be asking me? You'll be asking me, what skill do you have? Ask the same question to you. If you are completing your industrial psychology and if you are willing to get into HR sector, ask yourself, what is the one skill which you have? If you don't have a skill, get enrolled into something, start developing your skill. Foreign and doing work in India will be valuable. No, it will not be valuable, Niveda, because studying in foreign will definitely require a lot of fund. That is, well, let's say a minimum of somewhere around 15 to 25 lakhs approximately if you're studying in foreign. But you can't expect that kind of salary in India regarding the terms. I mean, the investment amount and the returns amount will be completely different, because in India, approximately you start somewhere from 35,000 to the maximum you can start somewhere from like 50,000 or 55,000, because that doesn't get tallied. So if you are planning to get your PGs in foreign, better also plan your career in the foreign as well. That is how most of the factors goes. I'm saying it from a fresher perspective. But if you're, let's say, like if you are doing your MSc in foreign, you're working there for 5 years and you are getting back to India. Now you can become a HR leader or a HR director. From there, you will be getting higher pay. But as a fresher, the money you invest and the salary you get will be completely different. If you have a technical experience with distance MSc psychology, we cannot apply for a HR. Definitely, you can, Yuvraj. So if a person is stressed without counseling, how can we require them? Okay, sorry, Shanmugh, I'm not able to understand the question. If you could, type it again, I will try to address it. Is MSc psychology students eligible for HR? Definitely, you are eligible for the HR profession, because HR profession, if you are getting into management, that is HR manager or something like that, it requires a PG. But if you are joining as an assistant HR or a junior HR, something like that, a normal UG itself is fine, but the salary would be very, very low. It may start from somewhere like 15,000 or 20,000 like that. Is only PG in psychology enough for industrial psychologists, or will I have to do diploma too? There is no necessity for diploma, Shams. If you have a PG, that is well and good. That's what I said. Doing a diploma will just add your skill, but it is not a mandatory factor. It is an additional factor. Okay, the difference between mandatory and additional is only if you have a diploma, you will get a job. That is a different case. But if you have a diploma, you will have more skills. You'll be able to get more excelled in the industry. That is the difference. So it is not mandatory, but it is good to have. Can a student with an MA in psychology become? Yes, you can. Is completing MA in industrial psychology enough to get ahead as an HR manager? Yes, you can. I understand that HR manager as a position You will not directly get into HR manager. Like you will be getting as an assistant HR manager or an associate HR manager. Only after 3 to 4 years of experience, you can become a HR manager. Till that, you will be becoming as an assistant HR manager or as an associate HR manager. But if you are completing your UG, you are an HR executive, not a manager. This is the differences. What kind of university is preferred by you for MBA HR in the south side? Okay, sorry HR, I will not be able to suggest a specific organization because it may become biased at the aspects. But what my suggestion would be is always try to look out for the placement aspects. Check whether the organization is autonomous or a deemed university. That would help a lot. I don't want to specifically mention, but these are some of the criteria you have to do the check when you are going for a PG. If the person doesn't like the culture of the company, but he works because of the situation, how would this impact the company? There will be no productivity. There will be no results. If he is just sitting there for the salary sake, his work will also be just for the namesake, right? So that is how it affects the company actually. As MSc applied psychology students are eligible for the training development industry. Of course, you are eligible for the industry. Like if you have an MSc or an MA, basically a PG degree, you are eligible. Only factor is since in applied psychology you would have learned less factors related with HR, so it may be little it will be little hard for you to cope up. But if you are doing any sort of online programs or additional, if you are upskilling yourself, then that is not a problem. Is MBA necessary to work as a HR? No, MBA is not necessary to work as a HR. Any PGs would be fine, but if you wanted to join as a assistant HR manager, if you immediately wanted to join in a better position, a PG would be better. But let's say you with a basic UG degree itself, you can join as a junior HR or a HR executive, work for 2 years or 3 years, get more experience, then you can get converted into assistant manager. The same applies there. Only thing is here you study for 2 years, become an assistant HR manager. There you work for 2 years, become an assistant HR manager. That is the difference. If an employee is stressed without counseling, how HR professionals people reduce the stress of an employee? Yeah, most of it, they'll try to talk to the employees. They'll try to check whether is it an office problem or is it a personal problem which is bothering them. If it is an office problem, and if there are any specific reasons, let's say like because of the boss or because of any particular colleague, they'll try to address it. No, if it is a personal problem, they'll try to connect with the counselors and they'll try to address the issues and things like that. Okay, Revati, can you tell me you're talking about IO psychology, but what about conference? I'm not able to understand, Revati. Can you just retype the question so that I'll try to address the question? Can an MSc in general psychology apply for the HR post? The same answer, Shreya. You can apply for the HR post, but only difference is this. What is the difference between you applying for a HR post and then a person from an industrial psychology applying for an HR post? The difference is very simple. You would not have studied much regarding HR or industrial psychology. You would have studied a little bit more than comparing to you. So what happens? You will be lagging in the skills, but you are eligible to apply, but you also have to make sure that you are upskilling yourself. Rather than that, an MSc and an MA person can definitely apply for the position. Have 12 of overall year experience in HR and admin, and I have completed MSc psychology, but I want to join as a counselor. For hospital industries, please guide me. Okay, yeah. So in that case, basically what you can do is, Dhanalakshmi, you can join as an intern with specific hospitals or any sort of psychologists who are individually practicing. You can try to approach them and you can try to ask for internships, ask for guidances to psychologists who are individually practicing or who are practicing with their own clinic. And once you get there, you'll be asked to do as an intern, and you'll be trying to work there. You'll be trying to assist them. You'll be doing some observation during the counseling sessions and things like that. That would help you to pave a way for becoming a counselor. That is how it can be initiated. So try to find out, a person or a psychologist whom you can go and approach them for internship and try to become an intern there. And it can be a hospital, it can be an individual psychologist. It's up to you. But that is the basic, step. skills required for an HR. Obviously, the first is regarding people management. That is a very first important skill. You have to manage people in a very very simple way. If you are an introvert or if you are a person who are much shy, HR would not be the right job for you. I'm saying it from the professional perspective. Okay, so you should be able to manage people. You should be able to understand and talk to people. Your communication is very very important for an HR, and you have to have the ability to analyze people. These are the three things. One is you have to manage people. So people management should be high. The second is you should have a good communication, specifically English, and the third is you need to have a good analytical approach. You have to analyze people and things like that. So in counseling psychology now, what is the scope in the factory or in the HR department? Okay, yeah, the scopes are good, Revati. As I mentioned earlier, instead of initiating as a in-house counselor in the company itself, it's always better to work in mental health companies or become a individual practitioner. That is what I would suggest, because as I mentioned in the beginning of the session, that slowly in-house counselors are not able to get much traction. The companies are understanding that people are not ready to open up to the in-house counselors. So that is what basically is happening. So, but if you are really passionate about the industry and you wanted to you can practice as an industrial psychologist. Practice as an individual psychologist, or you can also, get into mental health related companies and start your career like that. Okay, organization consists of different procedures of work. No. What happens is you will not train people in the very beginning itself. First, you'll be joining as I mentioned earlier, something like an assistant for a senior HR professional. They will be training. Okay, you will be just observing. Most of it at least for 6 months or 1 year, you will not be getting into training, because training requires actually experience, as you mentioned itself. So you'll not be directly getting into training. You will be first trying to understand and things like that. Only once you get experience and once your seniors understand that, okay, now you are ready with the terms, you will be asked to do the training. And as a HR professional, your training will only require soft skills. It will not require technical skills. There is no technical related with software or nothing. You'll be only asked to train a person or an employee related with the soft skills, basically the personality development. Okay. Okay. Are there any other questions? Any other questions, or we'll look for a minute or two and we'll try to wind up. If you have any questions, you can mention it in the chat box. Don't hesitate to ask questions. People who ask questions will learn something. People who learn something will go to the next level. That's a very simple inference which you can understand. So you want to learn something, ask questions. You want to go to the next level, learn something, ask questions. That's it. Like that. Any other questions you wanted to address, or you wanted to have a doubt? You may had a doubt, but as I mentioned, the last 15 minutes would be of doubt solving and things like that. Any other questions you want to address? Okay, great. I am really happy that you were throughout the sessions, and I also believe that it's a totally 3-day session. I hope you all know it. Day 1, today is day 1, tomorrow is day 2, and the day after tomorrow is day 3. So probably I'll try to meet you all on tomorrow with the same time, evening 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Adding to it, we will also be posting the recordings of the session in the group by today 10 p.m. itself. If you find it useful, you can also share it, the same recordings of the session which you attended. Let's say there would have been your friends who were not able to attend. There would have been your friends who did not know about the program. You can also share this recordings to them. The whole point for us is to reach more people, to educate more people. That is the whole point. So we'll be posting the recordings, and for any cross-check or references, or if you wanted to share it to your friends, you can always do it. Thank you. Thanks for today, and I hope probably we'll meet you all tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Thank you all.